Hi there, Sandra here from Create in Spain. So today I wanted to do another pop-up for you, and what I want to do is show you the basic cut and fold and then what you can actually do with it. I'm making sample cards for my own use, so I'm not going for a fully finished card. I just want to have demonstrations for myself at a future date as to how these different cuts and folds can be used. So this one is probably one of the easiest things that you can do because you've got your basic card shape and you only have one actual cut, and that's this line here, curve line. And then these green lines are score lines. You have the center one, which is pretty much obvious, and kind of like a kite shape here. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this, because this is a really good fun card, and I am giving you the print and cut that goes with it, so you can make a full card up if you like. The bits that you're not getting are the added extras that make the card your own. You know, the little touches that you can put on afterwards, but I'll give you the basics for the card itself. So what I'm doing is this little guy. He opens and closes his mouth. Now he is going to have a backing there to make it look like he's actually got a mouth, and he's going to have teeth. You can see the cut from this side, and when it's folded you simply put these pieces to the inside and give them a good going over with a bone folder. That's what makes your cards particularly easy to pop up. All right, so we now have our dog. The first thing I want to do is to give him some teeth. So I did cut some teeth, and I'm going to put them on the upper jaw, and I'm just going to stick them behind, but it's going to follow the fold lines that were already there, so nothing that difficult. So he now has some teeth, but I also want to give him, are they called canines? I don't know what they're called actually. The two teeth that sort of go upwards quite often on this sort of dog. And don't get at me, I just drew this dog, fantasy dog. I have no idea what it's supposed to be, so please don't get at me if I've got some details wrong. I mean, these little things are something you can take time over if you're doing it properly from a demo point of view. Am I bothered? Not really. So he now has teeth, top and bottom, so that's fine. But he doesn't have anything behind here, so I've done a little print. Now you can do it as a print and cut. I happen to print this after I cut everything out, and I've done it in paper rather than in card. But this tongue then gets positioned behind, and it's up to you again where exactly you put it. This is the effect we get. So he's now got a tongue in his mouth, and he opens and closes his mouth. And to make the card up, I've simply got a piece of scrap card. I'm using up cards that I would not normally use on cards. This is just for my samples. So that goes in there. And glue my corner and put that down. You'll notice I'm doing an oversized card base, and that's because you can cut it down afterwards if you want to, but you can't make it bigger if you get it too small. So that side is done again, and then when it's dry you can open it up and it should work. Okay, so there we have our dog with his opening mouth, and if I was going to make this into a proper card I would trim this down a bit, but I'm just going to keep it like that because it's going in my bulk folder for pop-ups as a demonstration, complete with a photograph of it and this print, so I know what the actual cut and fold was. You may be wondering how I do the drawing for this type of thing. I've got a canvas set up at 300 dpi, and I have set it up so that I've got drawing assist. Now the drawing guide needs to be switched on. You can edit the drawing guide and you've got different options for symmetry, but I just want the vertical option. That's all I need. And this line here alters the colour of your guideline, so if you can't see it, make sure it's over to the left. So what I've done here is I created a layer, tapped on here, made a layer, ignore all these because I've got lots of layers on here already. And I just drew a basic shape that I was going to be using. So the first thing I wanted to do was to draw my fish. And so I did that just with a normal pen tool, and I drew a basic fish type shape. And then, if you notice, I've made it an assisted reference. Now the assisted is the symmetry bit. The reference, and you get it by getting this menu up down here, means that I can fill it with colours, and I will get those colours as a separate layer. I'm going to add another layer, and what I'm going to do is just put that in there. Now you want to do this one shape at a time because it will help when you want to put the shading on. If you ever want to alter it afterwards, it makes it that much easier if all these shapes are separate. It's fine to have these two in pairs and this in pairs, but anything which is next to the other one, if you're trying to put shading on, the shading is going to go over both shapes. You may not want it. So keep it as a separate shape. So when I want to add shading to this, tap on it again and put the alpha lock on. And that's why you get this checkerboard visualization here. That shows you that the alpha lock is on. And basically it means that no matter what I do, I cannot draw anywhere on here except on that purple bit, which is my layer selected at the moment. So I'll tap on this and I'll make this a darker color. And I'm just going to come in with a thicker line than that. So let's make the line a bit thicker. Just going to come in with a basic shape like that. I'm going to put some colouring there. And you might think, gosh, that looks really, really weird. Now, if I had made this an assisted layer, it would do it at the same time on both sides. So if I want it to be symmetrical, remove that, make it drawing assisted. And now when I come in with my pen, it's going to do it on both sides at the same time. There we go. And I know it looks revolting. Come up to the magic wand up here and go to Gaussian blur. And swipe with your pencil left to right, and you can see those lines start to blend and go smooth out. So I want to do the fins. I put in another layer and come up with a different colour. And I come up here and just drop the colour in. I've got my layer. I want to make it drawing assist, and I want to put the alpha lock on, come in with a darker shade and just put some colour bottom of there, up to my magic wand, Gaussian blur, and move it till I get the blurred effect that I want. Now all these layers are separate so that I can change the colours in them if I want to. And I can keep going and just turn on and off the layers to change the colours. So if I decide I don't want that colour showing, I can take that colour out and I can put this colour in. Excellent. It's just so easy to do. I'm going to switch that one off because it looks very strange with those colours. And what am I going to do? I'm going to do another layer, and I want a shade of green this time. Let's go to that sort of green instead. That's fine, and come in here and drop into these fins, make those drawing assisted, make the alpha lock go on, and then come down to a slightly darker shade. Just going to do that. Just going to go over the bottom corner, magic wand, Gaussian blur, left to right, shaded. No problem at all. So I'm quite happy with this little guy. So now I want to put a background in. Now I can either leave this visible or leave it invisible. So I'm going to switch off all these layers because I don't want any distraction. So I want a blue, and I want that sort of blue, but I want it very, very pale. And I'm going to put this up. And I'm going to make a new layer, but I need to put this layer underneath. So I've got this, like so. Make it a little bit darker and do another couple of stripes. And then I want to change it to a much darker purple. Another couple of stripes. And then I want to go really, really dark. I'm not being overly precise about this. I'm not worried about whether it's straight lines either. Right, so I've now got a layer with lots of different colours in it. Up here, go to my Gaussian blur, left to right again, and lo and behold, I've got a great gradient, and I can take it over more if I want, like so. And now I can switch my fish back on. Okay, and I need to put this layer up above, but I need to switch it on for a start. And going to put that up above, and you can see my fish is there. But he's not got any plants or anything, has he? So I want him to have some plants to be amongst. So another layer in, and it's underneath the fish. I'm going to come in, and I'm going to go for a multicolour tool. And this one is what I call my flick brush. And this will automatically draw different, make it a bit bigger, different colours depending on the angle, depending on what colour I've got selected here. It's going to do all sorts of weird and wonderful colours because that's the way the brush is set up. There we go. So you could add in whatever you fancy. You could add in another layer with, I don't know, crabs, seashells, whatever you want to add onto it. And that's how I do it. So you can choose whether you want, for example, a smiley fish like this one, or I did this one where the smile is the other way around and he looks like he's in a really bad mood. So you can have great fun with this. But you could do it with all sorts of animals, just leave it up to your imagination. Once you've got the actual animal planned, think what the mouth would look like inside, and then make a drawing for that on another layer, and then play around with the positioning of it. When you've got it into your cut software, you can do it as a print and cut on a separate piece, and then you just put it behind your original drawing, and then when the mouth opens and closes, you don't just have an empty space behind it. So that's how it's done. Hope you found that interesting and useful, and I hope you actually contact me and send me some photographs via Facebook or whatever of the projects that you've done, because that would be great fun to see. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Take care now.